Thank you for joining us today for the Pixels and Projects podcast. Today, we'll be discussing hybrid work and high-performing teams.
How you doing today, Jody?
Oh, I'm doing great, Johnson. I got my coffee, my dog's snoring under the desk, and I'm ready to talk hybrid teams.
Love it. So let's get right into it. Did you know almost half, 47% of U.S. workers are hybrid now? But here's the kicker. 60% of leaders say they're still struggling with team cohesion and performance. That's a big old gap, huh?
It really is. And it's not just about managing people from a distance anymore. It's about actually building a team that performs, even when half of them are in their pajamas and the other half are in the office. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, managing remote is one thing, but building a high-performing hybrid team, that's a different beast. I mean, you can't just rely on the old walk by their desk and check in routine. You got to be intentional, right?
Absolutely. And let me tell you, my first hybrid project team, it was tough at first. We had folks in Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, and a couple in California. Everyone was doing their own thing, and honestly, nobody knew what was expected. We were missing deadlines. People were frustrated, and I was just about ready to pull my hair out.
Oh, I've been there. What turned it around for you?
Honestly, we sat down, virtually of course, and defined our team norms, like how we communicate when we're available, what done looks like. It wasn't fancy, but once we all agreed on those basics, things started clicking. People felt safer to speak up, and suddenly we were actually acting like a team instead of a bunch of freelancers on the same Zoom call.
That's huge. Sometimes it's the simple stuff, right? Just getting everyone on the same page about how you work together. I think a lot of leaders miss that when they go hybrid.
Oh, for sure. And if you skip that step, you're just setting yourself up for confusion and honestly, burnout. But once you get those norms in place, you can start building something real.
So let's talk about what actually moves the needle. I was reading McKinsey's latest report. Teams with clear performance metrics are, what, 2.5 times more likely to hit their goals in hybrid setups? That's wild.
It is. And it makes sense. If you don't know what you're aiming for, how do you know if you're getting anywhere? I'm a big fan of OKRs, objectives and key results. You set those quarterly targets, and suddenly everyone's rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, and you got to track it somewhere everyone can see. I've seen teams use digital dashboards or even just a shared spreadsheet. But the key is, it's visible. And I started doing bi-weekly metric reviews with my team a couple years back. At first, folks were nervous, like, oh no, Johnson's checking up on us. But after a month or two, it actually boosted morale. People liked knowing where they stood, and it gave us a chance to celebrate wins, not just point out what's missing.
That's so true. And it ties right into psychological safety, which, Google's Project Aristotle found was the #1 factor for high-performing teams. If people feel safe to speak up, ask questions, or even admit mistakes, you get way better results. Harvard's study last year said teams with structured communication protocols had 34% higher engagement. That's not nothing.
Nope, that's a big deal. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Stuff like no meeting Wednesdays for deep work or having a dedicated Slack channel just for water cooler talk. I even tried a virtual open door, just letting folks know they could ping me anytime for a quick chat. It made a difference, even if it was just 5 minutes here and there.
I love that. And documenting everything in a digital wiki or handbook, that's a lifesaver. I always say, if it's not written down, it didn't happen. Plus, it helps new folks get up to speed without having to bug everyone for info.
Exactly. And sometimes it's the structure that gives people the freedom to do their best work. It sounds backwards, but it's true.
All right, let's get into the fun stuff. Tools and culture. Microsoft's research showed teams using asynchronous tools saw a 28% productivity boost. That's huge. Not everyone's on the same schedule, especially if you've got folks in different time zones. Tools like Loom for video updates or like Notion and Confluence for project briefs let people work when it suits them best.
Yeah, and setting clear expectations like, hey, respond within 24 hours. That keeps things moving without making people feel chained to their inbox. I gotta admit, I was skeptical about all these new tools at first, but once you see the results, it's hard to argue.
And it's not just about the tech, right? Deloitte found that companies with strong virtual culture had 41% higher retention. That's wild. But you got to be intentional. Monthly virtual coffee chats, quarterly team building events, even just celebrating birthdays or little wins in a group chat, it all adds up.
Spotify is a great example. They went remote first, put all these strategies in place metrics, communication, team building, and saw a 22% jump in team effectiveness, plus a 15% drop in people quitting. That's real impact.
And, you know, sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference. I remember this one virtual coffee chat. One of our teammates was super disengaged, barely spoke up in meetings. But in that casual setting, just talking about dogs and favorite movies, something clicked. Next thing you know, she's volunteering for projects and rallying the team. It was like flipping a switch.
That's awesome. Sometimes you just need that human connection, even if it's over Zoom. All right, I think that's a good place to wrap for today. Hybrid work isn't going anywhere, and if you focus on clear metrics, safety, the right tools, and building culture, you're setting your team up to thrive.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Johnson. Thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. We'll be back soon with more tips and stories to help you lead your hybrid teams to success.
Take care, everybody. Jody, always a pleasure. See you next time.
Bye, Johnson, and thank you everyone for joining us today.